70. Our first guest is going to be coming up here, and again, this is Colonel Morrison at the Fishburne Military School. Colonel Morrison, welcome to the Curtis Report.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Curtis. It's a real honor and a real pleasure.
I appreciate that. Now, you're the commander of the Fishburne Military School. First of all, I didn't realize that this is the oldest military school in Virginia.
Yes, sir, and it's one of the oldest in the country. It's 130. We're in our 134th session.
That's amazing. Tell us now about you first. Tell us about your history, education-wise, historically there with the school as well.
Okay. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and big schools up there, and had a father that worked in the mills, and we lived in just blue-collar neighborhoods up there, and combination of the big schools and the blue-collar neighborhoods didn't make it conducive to my success, so they actually looked for military schools. And I ended up at Fishburne as a kid when I was 13. Graduated from here back in 1981, went on to college up in Pittsburgh, was in sales for a little bit, came back and taught here for 5 years, went back up into Pittsburgh after teaching and worked for post-secondary education and wrote a book while I was doing it, and came back here to Fishburne to do their admissions work 6 months out of the year, and the other 6 months I traveled around the country speaking to education groups. And after that, I've been out consulting and doing some various things in private industry, and they contacted me this summer and asked if I'd ever be interested in coming back and being the superintendent here at the school. And I didn't know what to say at first, but I went to bed that night and I was overwhelmed with pride, and I thought, you know what, I have to go back and do it. So here I am.
Amen to that. Now tell us a little bit about the school. Now my understanding is capped at 200 students.
Yes, our maximum enrollment, the most we'll ever take, is 200 students.
Tell me how that benefits you. Tell me how that helps the students in general.
The gift that Fishburne has is that it takes students that have potential but might not be living up to it and gets them to that level where they're performing well enough academically and otherwise to go on to college or to the military or whatever they want to do and be successful. And the small size of that school for the students means that they get individualized attention like they wouldn't get in any other environment. We have an environment now in education where a lot of the small community schools that used to be in many of our towns across the country are being consolidated in cost-saving measures into these large warehouses where students come from far, far away. And some kids survive and do really, really well there. Other kids can disappear, fail, and not, the teachers just don't have the ability in many cases to step in and help them. So the small size is essentially a throwback to the old community schools, only our community is the whole world. We get kids from everywhere.
Amen. We're going to take a quick break. Again, we're talking to Colonel Morrison with the Fishburne Military School in Virginia. We've got some really cool things I want to talk about coming up, including the admissions requirements, how the all-male structure there affects the learning environment. So I think it'll be really interesting. So we'll be back here in just a moment with the Curtis Report.
ProCollect is a third-party collection agency. We are hiring for a collection specialist. The candidate must have 1 year verifiable collection experience, knowledge of the FDCPA, type 30 words per minute, pass a drug test, and a criminal background check. Call to schedule a confidential interview, 214-341-7788. That's 214-341-7788. Ask for Mr. Samples, HR Director, or email at jobs@procollect.com. That's jobs@procollect.com. You may also apply online at procollect.com. Salary employees receive PTO time and medical insurance. Come work in a great corporate environment at 12170 Abrams Road, Suite 100, Dallas, Texas 75243. Email jobs@procollect.com. Mint Dentistry has 2 words for you if you have a less than wonderful smile. Free whitening. Let me say that again. Free whitening. If you have PPO dental insurance, Mint Dentistry will whiten your teeth for free. That's free, as in no x-rays, no exams, no fooling. Mint won't even bill your insurance company for your free whitening because it's free. Mint Dentistry's fabulous dental spa is located in the luxurious Hotel Palomar on Central and Mockingbird. Mint features flat screen TVs, vibrating chairs, the newest digital x-rays, incredible dentists, and dental assistants you'll love. Plus, the skilled dentists at Mint will change your life with everything from simple fillings to dental implants to spectacular veneers. Give your smile an extreme makeover. Call 214-821-MINT for an appointment today. 214-821-MINT. 214-821-MINT or visit mintdentistry.com. Center for Dance is Dallas's premier studio for children and adults. We provide dance training of the highest quality, allowing dancers to reach their full potential in a positive environment. Whether it's for fun or intense training, we have a class tailored to fit your needs. Our goal is to provide dancers of all ages with the best dance education possible. Featured in Dallas Child Magazine, on Fox 4's Good Day, and WFAA Channel 8's Good Morning Texas. Center for Dance. You can find us online at centerfordance.com. Conveniently located in Dallas on the northwest corner of Coit and Campbell, next to restaurants and shopping. Classes start for children at 18 months. Genres include ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary, hip-hop, drill team prep, cheer, creative movement, and more. Find out more. Center for Dance at centerfordance.com. Ascension Credit Services has a dedicated passion of helping people to improve their credit. They understand the extreme need for your confidentiality and are sensitive to all other additional needs personally to each and every individual client. Ascension Credit Services works efficiently to dispute bankruptcies, tax liens, bad debt, accounts in collection, late payments, and to the overall improvement of your credit score. They put their customers first and have built a foundation made up of trust and integrity. And they're very proud to help repeat clients and referrals. They will not stop until you are 100% satisfied. Call Ascension today, 214-810-2733 for your free evaluation. That's Ascension, 214-810-2733 for your free evaluation. Ascension Credit Services, where our clients are more than a credit score.
Let freedom ring.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
You're listening to The Curtis Report, the newest voice for American conservative principles on KHVN, Heaven 97.
Welcome back to the Curtis Report. We're talking to the commandant, the colonel of Fishburne Military School, and it's a school in Virginia, and it's really got an amazing history. It is the oldest military school in Virginia. Colonel Morrison, tell us about the Army Junior Reserve Officers Training Program there.
We have the Army JROTC here, which is a high school version of the ROTC program that the college students take in preparation to become officers in the Army. Now, the JROTC program, because it is in many, many high schools, is not necessarily designed to be a recruiting tool for the military, but it does give the kids enough of a taste of the military and in such a way that a lot of the kids do develop an interest to continue their careers in that direction.
And that goes into play with your discipline in general there at the school, right? And I mean discipline as far as regiment is concerned.
Sir.
Yeah.
The JROTC program allows the kids to participate in a number of different things that are difficult and a little bit scary, repelling, obstacle courses, different things like that. And we are a firm believer in not shying away from difficulty. One of our core beliefs is that the system is difficult by design because it's designed to breed strength. And
Right.
when the JROTC program allows these kids to do things like rappelling and like the obstacle courses, when they finish them, they look back and they say, "Wow, I did that."
Right. And you've got a number of different varsity sports there, right? So some 12 or 13 different sports.
We have just about every varsity sport, and some of them have varsity and JV. The most recent addition was lacrosse. We had to add that because it became very popular at the high school level. So
Right.
we have just about every sport you can imagine.
Now, let's talk about the admissions requirements there. Who could we expect to see there on campus?
When you come into the school, you're going to have to interview with a number of different people. The first would obviously be the admissions director, and he does the overall information gathering, where he basically collects information about the student, why they're there, the family, what they're looking for in an education experience, and he'll do the tour. But we like for students to meet an alumnus. In this case, since I am an alumnus of the school, I can step in and serve that role, because Fishburne is essentially an alumni-owned school. The Fishburne Hudgens Education Foundation was set up back in the 50s to basically, we bought the school, and now it's kept open for sons, grandsons, and friends. Anybody that's not related to somebody that's graduated from here would be considered a friend.
Now, since you have the JROT program there on campus, do you get government funding of any sort?
No. The government funding is limited to the JROTC program. I know the school shies away from that sort of thing. We would prefer to be independent and support ourselves.
Right. Tell us about, these are obviously all male boys/men here at the school. Tell me, in your educational experience, what effect does the same-sex school have positively on the educational experience of those kids?
Anybody that's ever raised or taught or worked with young men, teenagers, knows that this is the age where one of the biggest distractions in their lives will be girl. Mm-hmm. And, we get countless students that will come through, and, they were good students till they got to that, 12, 13, 14-year age, and girls became more important than ever and more interesting, obviously, than ever. And the idea that, they're in a classroom trying to accomplish goals and meet standards set by the school, as opposed to sitting in a classroom trying to impress the young ladies in the room, makes a huge, huge difference. Now, this single-sex education, it's an old-school concept. Most schools have either gone away from it voluntarily or else been forced to go away from it because they took some sort of funding and had to give up their traditions. It's something that we are going to hold on to forever because we know the benefits of it.
Right. Give me, this is dispel a myth. When sometimes we have a perception of military schools, we think of some, he must have been a bad kid.
Right.
Let me send him someplace, will it get him in line? Dispel that myth here, because that's not necessarily what we're talking about here, right?
No, absolutely not. And most of the kids, in fact, one of the things that we try to do in the admissions process is actually screen out a kid that might either be bad for the school's reputation or bad for, the other kids in the population. You do every once in a while get a kid who's ornery. They're teenage boys,
right? And
you try to hang with them and teach them self-discipline and those things that can help them. But it's not military schools are not necessarily schools for bad kids. That is a rumor. There may have been a period of time when some schools did take kids that might have been less than stellar.
Right.
To survive perhaps right after the Vietnam era. I know a lot of military schools closed and others struggled to keep their enrollment up. Mm-hmm. But, nowadays the modern military school is a far different institution than, say, this legendary status, I would say.
Give me an idea, set the scene here for me about your campus. The children, who lives on campus? Do they live on campus? Is this a 24-hour facility? Tell us what we could expect on campus there at Fishburne.
Yeah, at full enrollment, we would have 175 on campus. They live 2 to a room. The rooms consist of a bed on each side, a desk on each side, and a press on each side. And a press is a series of shelves. It's like the old military shelves where the students have to fold everything that they own, and it has to be folded tightly and neatly according to the reg book and, kept there.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us about the psychology of the room itself. Is there a reason it's set up that way?
The idea of simplicity and the appreciation of order in our lives is, it starts right with the room.
Right.
And
unlike your traditional dorm room.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But you'd be surprised how many of these kids go off to college and they have dressers instead of shelves, and they would rather have their press. They would wish they could have something similar. But, there is beauty in simplicity, and there is beauty in order, and it's not only does order help simplify your life, but it does help calm your life and help you focus on what it is that you're supposed to be focused on. It's an old military tradition, just like shining the shoes and shining the brass. There are the most basic of things in life that have to be taken care of, and those things, orderliness, neatness, cleanliness,
Right. Tell me about parental involvement there. What's your policy on parental involvement? How often do they come? What's the parent's role in this?
We actually encourage communication from the parents. We have phones in the rooms, which we have on switches. We can turn them on during certain hours and turn them off during other hours. And we have, in fact, we have a parents committee that does different things to raise money for an activity fund, and they get involved in our recruiting fairs.
But let me go back to. I'm sorry, Colonel. Let me go back to this because I don't want to. Now, you said phones turn on, so there's no cell phones on campus for these kids?
We actually started using a cell phone, period. But they have to turn in their cell phones when they come to the school. But if a student wants to sign out a cell phone during a certain period on the weekend where they can call their parents using a cell phone, they can. But for the most of the time that they're here, they have no cell phones. They're problematic. So
right.
It's just with today's technology, that's the way parents prefer to communicate. So on the weekends during certain hours, they can sign out a cell phone. But for the most part, they need to put them away.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, you can look at that difference between a public school system setting and the issues of cell phones, which are numerous. I mean, countless school board meetings, superintendent issues with cell phones, and it's just unbelievable, that difference in there. Tell me how that helps you there. Tell me how that difference is elevated in your school.
Again, here's the one of the big problems, I think, with education in general, and throwing no criticisms towards anyone. It's just that as society is evolving
right.
and technology is evolving, we are not keeping up with it. And the teenagers are being thrown into these environments where, number one, you're judged by what value your cell phone has, but you're constantly texting each other and you're constantly on the phones to each other, and they're not, in many cases, doing the things that they should be doing, which is focusing on the academics or focusing on athletics or doing the kind of things that are developmental, positively developmental. There's nothing wrong with a cell phone. There's nothing wrong with a computer, as long as they're used appropriately and in the appropriate proportions. What we've gotten is that the cell phones have gotten out of control, and technology has gotten completely out of control. And in most settings, it's actually hurting the kids because they just, it's going too fast for the adults to control, for those that wish to control it, and for those that don't wish to control it, their kids are just they're lost sometimes in technology.
Just a few minutes remaining. Tell us what we've got, what you got coming up special here in the next couple of months, if anything, and just give us a general recap there at Fishburne Military School.
Okay, our second semester of our 134th session is starting mid-January, January 15, and we are actually in the process of filling the last beds that will be available for that.
How can they reach you?
The best way to reach us is to go to the website, and there are a number of phones there. It's www.fishburne.org, and Fishburne is spelled FISHB as in boy, URNE.org. And if you wanted a phone number, I could give you that. It's 540-946-7700.
Excellent. We're also going to throw up a link on our site to yours too.
And we've thrown your link out to our alumni. So we're glad to be part of your community. And anytime you needed us back or
well, we're going to be checking back with you very frequently, probably next month, and after that each month, and just kind of check back. We like to do that with our Patriot schools and to see what's going on.
Yes, sir.
I salute you, Colonel, and we salute Fishburne Military School there in Virginia.
And we salute everything that the Curtis Initiative is doing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Godspeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next on the Curtis Initiative, I love that school. In fact, you've got to go to thecurtisinitiative.com and look at that featured section there with him, because that is just absolutely amazing school. And those things you were talking about, I mean, that discipline, the concept of removing a cell phone from a 14-year-old's hands and saying you cannot use this, or a 16 or a 17-year-old's hands, is absolutely just a foreign concept. And just think about that issue alone. And here in the Curtis Report, we want to highlight those programs in the educational system that works. This works. First of all, it talks about this all-male setting, and we can look at the reports, and we know the studies have been done that says that all girls' schools and all boys' schools separately, they learn better. They learn better separately, particularly the boys, as the Colonel says, when they don't have the distractions that come, particularly when you introduce a female classmates. But moreover, with that, it's all the other parts of the disciplinary activity that goes along with that. So that is absolutely unreal there. I appreciate the Colonel calling in. And we're going to have him back on as we continue to do this. We'll be right back with Karen Garnett here on the Curtis Report.